Hello folks, how to start preparing for CAT 2026 starting now. A nice long window. I actually think this is one of the better windows of starting. Any longer than this, the 2 year, 3 year cycle and all is it's a momentum killer. I don't think you need to prepare for this exam for that long. A good time to start is 12 to 15 months before the exam. 15 months before the exam is perhaps perfect. Best way to start, when you ramp up and know fundas beautifully and then build speed and then do a ton of mocks. You don't have to compromise on anything. You don't have to feel rushed for anything. That's super important. So an early start is usually very helpful because one, you don't leave anything on the table. You don't have this feeling of left something incomplete, having left incomplete. Two, you don't leave anything to chance. The later you start, the more topics you dump. You can clear possibly the exam and do wonderfully well without touching geometry, trigonometry, mensuration. But if you start early, you do not have to take that chance. There could be a paper with 6 questions from this. You'll get murdered in that. And so the earlier you start, the more from fundamentals you can learn and the more complete and comprehensive your preparation will be. Both are important. Both are super important. And so we start early. What should we do? It's one of my favorite quotes. If I had 9 hours to chop a tree, I'd spend the first 6 sharpening the axe. And so this exam is a wonderful test of intelligence and test of grit in preparing, test of temperament in hanging in through the ups and downs of preparation. And so what it is not is one giant speed-based exam out of templates. If you look at the previous year CAT papers, any of the last 3-4 years, hardly any question where you can just plug a template and mark the answer. Not there. There's nothing in logical reasoning that is bleeding obvious. There's nothing in quant that is form-like. Every question they're saying, look, you know the framework. Think about that sum, figure this out, and solve this question all in 2 minutes. They're not saying, okay, that formula, plug it in, get the answer. That's not happening. So it is a speed-based exam to the extent of how you figure out the new idea sitting inside the question. It is not a speed-based exam where you just have a toolkit of formulae that you plug in and get out. That will be probably our bank PO or SSC exam. This is not like that. Right? How fundamentally sound you are will drive your success. And this is not just true for quant, it is true for verbal as well. There's no gimmicky stuff in verbal that works. Even in quant, you may find the odd question that works off a formula. Verbal, no chance. In logical reasoning, impossible. If you've not built the art and science of cracking new templates and puzzle, you'll get cooked completely. Nothing is off a template here. So don't look to add 16 templates, 18 templates, 25 templates. Sometimes people come to me and say, look, I have 18 months, 15 months. You teach me everything in quant and you tell me all the possible formulae for all contexts. I'll learn all of them. I'll be ready and I'll fire. And I'll be like, look, this is simply not the way to go about this. I am not the guy to teach you that. So don't work off this. Sub templates ko crack karke, we will crack this. In verbal, there's no templates. In LRD, there's no templates. In quant, the templates don't work. And so what have you got to do? You've got to embrace the idea of becoming fundamentally better, conceptually sounder, basics becoming ultra clear in quant, verbal, and puzzle solving. You have to focus an enormous amount of time in sharpening the axe and not in learning templates. Super important. And this can happen when you're not continuously stressing about the next 2 months syllabus completion all the time. And if that happens, this can't happen. The biggest advantage of starting early is that you can build into a rhythm which reinforces fundamentals exhaustively. Imagine building a house. I don't know if any one of you have been invested in the idea of building a house. The more exhausting process, the more, how do I put this? The threadbare foundation drawing inside underneath the concrete structure that sets up what this can become. The more thoroughly you can do the planning and the fundas and ideas that you can put inside, the easier the final part of raising the building will become. And so make sure you understand this, make sure you appreciate this, make sure the early part of your preparation is severely driven towards sharpening the axe, not towards learning formulae, not towards completing syllabus, not required. Right? Cat rewards patience, clarity and calm. Super important. Build from scratch. And your speed will come with practice. Your mind starts making connections. And so, for a long time when I was solving quadratic equations, if I were given x square minus 7x plus 12 equal to 0, I had to take that minus 7, write it as minus 3 and minus 4, and then extract it and write it. My brain could not look at this and say, x minus 3 into x minus 4 is 0, 3 and 4 are the roots. But with time, it happens. So you do more and more practice, you get automated. It's retaining your sense of calm. Don't worry about building speed. Speed comes. Aram se. Hang in there. Be calm and composed, speed will come. Less panic, deeper learning. Definitely. No doubt about it. And so at this point, the stronger and higher peak later on is very much valid. The stronger your foundation, the higher your building can go. If you want to build a building that can go up to floor 6, put a foundation that can take it up to floor 10. The more time you invest in getting this space ready, the more room you will have, the more slack you will have, the more improvement scope you will have later on. So every ounce spent in building fundamentals is massively valuable. So what is the advantage? You build skills over time. Practice becomes a habit. So you're not signing up for saying, look, 6 hours per day, 10 days, and then 8 hours per day, 15 days, 12 hours per day, 18 days, I'm going for this exam. Doesn't work. And the reading habit gets inculcated and becomes natural. And leisure reading makes your grabbing of ideas subconscious. Quant practice makes processes automated, makes your grasp of numbers intuitively better. That can't happen in a crammed timeline. And so whenever you're cramming your timeline, it is still possible under two situations. One is you already have strong fundamentals. Two, you get a little bit lucky. You learn somewhat and then you get lucky in the exam. Fine. So I wouldn't recommend that. I would say build from scratch and build for the future. And your strengths get reinforced and gaps get plugged because you have time to plug the gap. If you have 10 weeks to the exam and you simply don't get exponents and logarithm, you'll say, look, I'll leave exponents and logarithm completely. But if you have 15 months to the exam and you learn this, then you learn exponents and logarithm, your functions become better. Your idea of drawing a graph gets better. Your idea of finding a range becomes better. All of these play off. They have impacts. They reinforce each other. Right? So the earlier you start, the more you fill gaps, the more your strengths get reinforced. Super important. This compound effort, what is meant by that is what you learn in exponents helps you with functions. What you learn with functions actually has a bearing on permutation probability. You find number of onto functions, you grab that. A beautiful set of ideas. They're connected. When you're learning in islands and in a hurry, you don't even realize that they're all connected. And so it reinforces. What should you do? How should you build this? How should you actually implement this? Your phase 1 is sharpen the axe. That is, learn to learn. Learn fundamentals, learn concepts, learn building blocks, learn the absolute bedrock of maths and English. That is, build a pipeline of leisure reading, habit of leisure reading. Think about the proof for some of the angles of a triangle being 180 degrees. Why is the test of divisibility by 9 what it is? Why is it enough? Just add all the digits. I know most of you know that if you have to find whether a number is divisible by 9, all you've got to do is add all the digits. I think for every 100 people who know that this is what the rule is, probably 2 or 3 know why does that rule work. Entire ball game is that. So learn that so that your learnability increases. Super important. Build your muscle to later on build muscle to become stronger. Right? Super crucial. And so this part, build the muscle. And so this is like, I'm not a fitness enthusiast. I've been meaning to become one for years, but I'm not. And so, but if I were, I could imagine somebody saying, look, work on your core, get your cardio going, make sure that you're flexible enough. Then put a weights routine. Don't just go first day, start pumping iron, you'll break down your body. Then refine your strategy to say, look, you want to become fit to generally look good or to play football or to play badminton. Tailor it to that. And so build the blocks, building blocks. Make sure that your muscle memory kicks in, not this muscle memory, and then your habits get built. Then fine tune it for the exam. Carve strategies with mocks for CAT. So phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3, all 3 will overlap. There will be parts where you are just doing this but you'll still take a mock. You're doing tons of practice but you've forgotten something, you'll go and reinforce this. You take a mock, you realize you've forgotten basics of geometry, go learn that again. They'll overlap, but the first phase is dominated by this, middle phase is dominated by this, the final phase is dominated by this. And these timelines are just frameworks we can choose for you. What to focus on for quant? If you're starting early, build the absolute basics of arithmetic and number sense. What I mean by number sense, you need to know the building blocks: HCF, LCM, multiples, factors, fractions, rational numbers. That sense of what numbers are that you need to build. Arithmetic is percentages, profit and loss, ratios, speed, time, distance, work and time, little bit of exponents, a little bit of simple interest, compound interest, simple topics. That's not algebra heavy, that's not theory heavy, but linked to practice. That's what we'll do. Verbal. Daily reading is massively useful. You simply cannot crack verbal without daily reading. And it's not just sufficient, it's also necessary. Right? What you can add if your vocabulary is fundamentally not that strong. And so you can add contextual vocab building, which is just hard booting vocabulary a little bit. I don't recommend it because one, it flies off. Two, the context is king. And so reading and that's maybe picking words that you don't know and finding their meanings is super useful. Taking 100 words and memorizing them is not useful. But if you have time, then you can build your vocabulary without hard booting it. That's what is meant by contextual vocabulary. Keep reading and then increase knowledge of context by learning meanings of words. Right? LRDI, build lots of puzzles. Right? So you can say, look, I'm going to do 25 Sudoku puzzles in the next week because I can fine tune my brain to think patterns. Right? You can do that if you start early. It'll be lovely. It'll have a material impact on how your brain operates if you do that. And cranking up Sudoku has a bearing on how you think about logical reasoning puzzles. Right? So it seems very counterintuitive, but it's very true. So 4 puzzles like that, and you do 2 of them every day. Then your brain starts picking patterns in ways that you have not consciously built, but automatically built. Habit building, not getting stressed, realizing that, look, I got this. Ho jayega. That feeling, that feeling is very important, and that comes if you start early. What do we do? What are the tools to do this? A structured course is super useful. Sometimes I find some of our training methodologies are very much the teachers. They hold on very tight to the script. When I have a son who's in class 11, he's going through his own preparation journey. They don't give clarity about, hey, this is a pie. This is the sum total of what is there. If you're going to look to do this in class 11, this you do in class 12. This is how you'll learn. This is when you'll consolidate. These are the practice exams you'll do. The overall structure is less available. What is available is next week this, next week after that is this. Don't worry about it. We got control of this. And so sometimes I don't like it, especially if you're older. I think you have more freedom and more maturity to take charge of your preparation. Even on day one, it's not that toolkit is not available. Over some time, you'll have to figure out your ways of defining your preparation, your strengths and weaknesses. So a structured course is super useful. We at IIM, when you take the classroom course or live online course, we automatically give you the self-paced course, which basically on a platter says everything that gets covered in quant, everything that gets covered in verbal, everything that gets covered in LRDI, and a structured plan to attack it. But everything is available on a platter on day one. You spend 45 minutes with the online course, you'll get a feeling of, oh, this is what there is to it. This is a big, broad circle of things that I need to do. And that structure is super useful. Within that structure, you build a schedule. Knowing the whole thing and then building a schedule and tweaking here and there to accommodate strengths and weaknesses is very powerful. So definitely spend some time to get hold of, hey, what is this about? And our course is super structured. And some of the things that I'm proud of, One is the fact that we teach all the time from first principles. We are not just a practice, company, we are a teach. So we do a question, we'll be like, oh, this is a wonderful question because we should think about these three variants, these are important. This is a funda sitting inside the question. This is a concept that we are calling back to, not just put this formula, get the answer. Right? So we believe in teaching from fundamentals all the time. Second thing is structure, certain clarity that comes from just looking at the course. I'm very proud of the fact that we care passionately about that structure, which is important. Mocks and analysis are important. Reading tracker is important. Mocks and analysis, I'm not spending too much time on it because if you're thinking about 2026, the mocks and analysis part becomes really meaningful or super relevant 10 to 12 months from now. So it is important, keep in mind. I'm not going to dive deeper into it. A peer group is important. We need to have a mechanism for a peer group to organically form and be helpful. So you don't need to have three buddies that are with you throughout the journey, but you need to have 4 or 5 people who are there in different parts of this thing. And it's better if it is organic. If you're sitting in August, you'll put a post on Reddit saying, looking for a study buddy. And then one guy says, puts his hand up and says, and he doesn't turn up 3 days and he calls and puts pressure and says, why didn't you come? It doesn't work. And there's more stress in finding a peer group if you're desperate to look for a peer group. And so if you have time, it also organically forms. Right. What should you not do? And don't fall for this. Finish syllabus first. Finish all the syllabus, then practice, then do the mocks. The 3 phases: learning fundas, building speed and automation, and doing mocks. All 3 have to operate throughout. The first one, learning dominates the first 1/3. Practice dominates the middle 1/3. Mocks dominate the last 1/3. But all 3 have to be in sync. You can't finish syllabus, then build speed, then take mocks. It's not a sequence. Keep that in mind. Right? So, more sources equal to more learning. Sometimes it just gets muddled. Right? So pick one primary source. If you have a clearly identified gap that you want to reinforce, then go and find and reinforce that. Maybe you want to take one more mock series. Maybe you want to pick up one PDF which is super useful for one topic. That can work. But otherwise, pick one source, double down on it, complete that well. I find too many students who finish 20% each in 3 courses and go nowhere because they have no sense of what is happening across the board. Fine. So pick one, stick to it. Why do IIM works? And so we build from scratch. As I said, I've been repeating over and over again, we build from scratch. We teach topic on averages. We'll say average of 2 numbers is A plus B by 2. 3 numbers is A plus B plus C by 3. And then build brick by brick to go to beautifully tough ideas in that topic. Everything is step by step. So this is very important theory in learning, that learning and grabbing ideas is at absolute peak when you are operating at the edge of what you are comfortable with, and then going for something just above it. And so suppose I am at a level 5 in arithmetic. If I keep doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'll plateau. If I shoot for 7, 8, 9, the step seems too high, we start struggling. For us, if we're at level 5, we'll keep throwing 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6 at you. Seamlessly we go to 6. We keep throwing 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7 at you. You go to 7. So, operating at the exact question that makes you slightly uncomfortable. That's when learning happens maximum. A lot of times our pedagogy is defined around that. Right? Not always, it is not possible. So sometimes you'll be at level 5 and we'll throw a question at level 9 at you, throw 2, 3 at you to consolidate. That will happen. But this is the idea. This is a script. The step-by-stepness is very important. Zero fluff, clear path. This is again, we don't do 80 bakwas. Something I think is this insanely tough question. It'll be like an insanely tough question. Do it for fun. It's not relevant for CAT. An absolute freebie practice question, we'll say this is for practice. Not relevant for CAT. Not at CAT level. And no gimmick, shortcut templates or phantom questions of extraordinary difficulty from Olympiads. None of that. Sidhi baat. And no bakwas. In a very interesting quote, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And so, very relevant. I see this and I realize that every time I've had a structured, near automatable process in my life, I have been better off for it. Whenever I've had a fantasy goal and said, look, it does not happen. What I'm doing now, what I'm struggling with now, a couple of things. I'm trying to get a little bit more fitter, and I like working in spurts. That doesn't work, and that's not worked for years. Right? That's one. On a professional level, I'm trying to build a product, and I've been waiting for inspiration. Right? Bakwas hai. Right? So you can sit all day for inspiration. You're just kidding yourself. Say every day 11 to 12, I'll work on this, and I'll work every fifth day. I'll take stock. You'll build a product really quickly. Right? I've not done this. Not happy about this, but I totally see the merit in this. Right? Where do you go? When I'm giving you the full spiel on how to prepare, how to plan, all of that. This is our website, our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is fabulous. And if you look at our YouTube channel, if you like the last 7 years, 2024, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, last 8 years, all the previous year CAT papers, all sections, all slots, you'll have video solutions there. Likewise for XAT, whatever is available. IFT is not even an exam, but IFT papers. All question papers, previous year papers, all relevant to you. Video solutions are available there. How to prepare, how to plan, what is your schedule, what should you do if you're in July, August, January, how to prepare for 25 CAT, how to plan for 26 CAT. All of those are available on a platter here. Right? There's a gigantic question bank by topic, by year for previous year paper, and by topic. So you can click on percentages, and then there'll be give or take 100 questions from percentages, all at CAT level, almost everything with video solutions on a platter. Basically saying, thali pe hai, aap pad lo. Okay? So it is there, and it's there. And this is not just for quant, it's there for verbal, it's there for logical reasoning, DI, everything, whole shebang on a platter, this place. And so one funny thing which we are again proud of is our traffic to this part just shoots up the roof in from October 15 to end of November. It's like the entire preparation community comes and camps here. It says, अब तो previous year question देखना ही है, और कहाँ जाएंगे, यहीं पर बैठेंगे. And they come and learn from there. Just not very commercially viable for us. Not viable, it's fine, but doesn't make any financial sense for us. Doesn't make any money for us. But you don't always do everything from financial payoff. Very, very happy and thrilled and proud that the entire community comes here and says, अब तो पढ़ना है यार, बैठ के पढ़ लेते हैं. So that this is a bazooka for anyone preparing for CAT. So start early, start from fundamentals, prepare in a calm and composed manner, but maintain intensity throughout. And it's a very super crackable exam. Hang in there, you'll go places. Best wishes.